This is an audiobook reading of Unnatural, an essay by Brent Noury on the unnatural. Page 1. What is unnatural in nature? Are the clock's hands part of reality or just a constructed illusion? What illusion can be drawn from this? Is a man-made structure part of nature? A building, a road, a bridge, a car, a computer, etc. Are they so different from a beaver dam or a bird's nest? If I use a branch or stick to lift myself to greater heights, is it so unlike a ladder to achieve a similar gain? When I use the stick to till my garden, is it unnatural? Does it become a tool and therefore no longer remain in the natural state of things? When the tides eat away at the shores over many eons, is the water a tool of the earth to change its appearance? When does fire become man-made? Is it ever? When volcanoes explode and lightning crashes, is it not the same as your struck match? Page 2. Where does love come in? Plato describes love as always needing, a form of need. John Lennon describes it as real, but also needing. What is need? Natural, for sure. Water, food, shelter, procreation as a species. Though procreation is not a need individually, the need involved in lust or conquering lust is there and present in both acts. Even the most individual remote human being that starves himself from society will still rely on the procreation of food sources and replicate ideas of survival or perish. Love comes in all forms of need. It manifests itself in infinite ways. It is a dull, fragile weapon in the hands of one, but an unconquerable force in the hands of many, shape-shifting into the form of power. Love is a tool that can be wielded and used as a way to hurt. Love can be one-sided or appear to be there while not really being present at all. Three, keeping track of ourselves. Putting it down on record. Sending messages, both out of relations and into the unknown. Pictures in our minds and ones put on canvas or photograph. Markings left on trails with rocks or scratchings on rocks and nearby trees. Making paths, wearing a path, leaving a path. Wearing a rock down with rain and rivers. Breaking a rock and sanding its shivers. Standing on solid granite or walking on smooth, hot tar paved into a winding, laid-out labyrinth leading to letters on and inside of mailboxes, where the two forms are kept and housed. Information on the outside to help find and keep safe the information on the inside. What is information? What is in formation? What is form? Is form a part of the natural world or unnatural space and time? What form does a form take if not an infinite one? What is one if not everything and its parts? What is the parts of one if not infinite forms? Four, infinite forms lead to infinite possibilities, countless worlds of unknown life patterns, limitless chances, constant reoccurrences and slight divergence, an endless stream of heroes and almost heroes, lives lived infinitely, the same, similar, and completely different or unlived. Almost Earths and worlds guaranteed to survive to human purge of resources. And the seemingly, from our Earth perspective, inevitable climate catastrophe. Not unlike the tomato plant in a wonderful well-grown garden. Even the best plant of the bunch will have some tomatoes that grow and mature on a path to perfection, and the most subtle chaos may strike the lifespan and produce underdevelopment or a crack in an otherwise perfect tomato. The tomato is still perfectly edible or capable of reproduction of plants, but the form became that of non-perfection on the vine. Our earth is one of infinite earths. Ours can very easily create a man-made crack or rotten tomato. Does nature give man the time and tool to fill the crack? Five, allusions, analogies, metaphors, stories. All forms of stored knowledge playing a type of game interwoven with messages and visions. To take a vision from one mind, dissolve it into essence, and then perform the magic reappearing act in another form, perhaps written or spoken or acted, and for the form to dissolve again into the viewer's perception and rebuild itself in the viewer's mind, combining all that viewer's life experience and cognition or remembrances into a form of recognition. This practice is done by many animals, and we recognize this as something of the animalistic instinctual mind. Such examples may be a dog marking its spot, a lioness teaching its young to hunt, chimpanzees learning sign language, exhibits at SeaWorld, or simply a school of dolphins swimming alongside a boat. Learning is a shared experience amongst all living creatures, plants, animals, fungi. We all learn at our own pace. Learning too slow may be life-threatening. 6. What is speech? Is speech an action? Yes, it is. And its action performed by many species on Earth. Does speech have consequences? Yes, in all forms of life, because speech is an action, there is reaction. There is controlled speak and wild talk, rhetorical devices and lies which hurt, and truths that hurt, and good lies and good news. There are different actions in speech. used for different effect. Some speech is subversive, some is pure, jovial honesty. Some is a righteous call for justice, and some is used to suppress and oppress and make less of others. Hate speech can be useful only in galvanizing war efforts. When used against countrymen, it fractures common goals and destroys the educational process of youth. Hate is not defeated by love, because hate loves hate. Hate is only defeated by a constant onslaught of educational opportunities. 7. Dreams, ghosts, hallucinations, misinterpretations. Is something real that is not really physical, but an interpretation of the observed reality? Does the form of that thought once brought into existence not actually exist? Does a rainbow exist? More than one person can observe it, and in fact, we can scientifically describe with great detail what is emerging when a rainbow appears. It's not some ancient spirit, but it is an ancient form of the invisible realm illuminating our world view. So much so that myths about pots of gold and greedy little creatures that spring up like genies to grant wishes when you find a clover with 4 leaves have become an established tradition around the world. The late hours when minds are tired but can't sleep bring undwelled thoughts which open doors to apparitions floating and waiting in a dark abyss to connect with the physical world in the form of a thought. Eight. Design. What is a machine? A design by man manufactured to repeat a process. Is a process a design? A process is a cycle that has been designed or occurs on its own in some form of chaos cycle. What is chaos? Chaos is a way in which everything, which is both being and not being, interact. The interactions occur infinitely, both currently and on a grand scale of infinite time. Chaos can describe everything and nothing at the same time. It surrounds the universal all and penetrates everything in it, affecting causes down to the miraculously infinitely small nanosphere. Does chaos create order? Cycles of order do emerge out of the constant chaos, but entropy plays a part in chaos, and so the entropy is part of the cycle that chaos creates. What is a cosmic cycle? A cosmic cycle is always in the present. The present neither begins or ends, but rides like a cart on an endless loop of birth, growth, and death, and rebirth. From a distance, their cycles can be viewed. 9. Is math real? It certainly works as a tool. It can be used. It can be related and written and understood. Are inanimate objects real? They definitely appear in the physical realm. What is real? Are things that don't appear in the physical realm an actual thing? Are thoughts real? They are happening, and they do manifest in many different ways, even going so far as to put body's extremities to great effort and stress and danger, to extract the idea from the thought realm to the physical realm, becoming phenomenon. Thoughts are real. They take energy and forms combined into an abstraction of previous knowledge or viewed instances to create a picture which the mind recognizes as an idea. It then confronts the idea and through fear, confidence, or indifference proceed accordingly. Metaphysical properties must exist in some form because their actions are felt. Emotional feelings become visible through their avatar. 10. Metaphysics live in a neutral space. They only come into being when called upon. The calling of the metaphysic is when it receives its plus one and takes form. It takes many forms, but seemingly only in cognition. So metaphysics live in a negative or neutral space in thought. But when the chaos cycle brings forth something that works in coordination with the dormant metaphysic in your mind, you have a physical phenomenon acting from the existence to bring out your metaphysic into birth. Then, very quickly, that form can shapeshift from something such as love to hate. Hate can shift to love, but that transition appears much slower. Metaphysical thoughts must be real in some sense due to their creationary power. There are two types of real. Nothing is real, and everything is real. That's how we exist. But we must name reality so we don't get lost in confusion or thought and stay there, because the only food is ideas and wisdom. 11. Can a person truly invent anything? Anything is a possibility because of infinity. Anything that could come out of the ether can and will somewhere, sometime, infinitely. Everything that can come out of the ether is something that can be imagined. Anything that can't be imagined can't be invented. Anything that can be imagined comes from previous imagery. Nothing that comes from previous imagery is invented. It can be altered. Anything that can't be imagined is the rarest of things, so rare as to almost not exist. Therefore, it exists in the most valuable way: discovery. Once discovered, this seemingly impossible thing has an instant growth into infinite space and becomes an infinite object, which has always existed as a form, but in both the physical phenomenon realm and the metaphysical realm. It was asleep in the negative metaphysic. A thought was added, and it came into being as idea. A connection of body and mind, physical work and metaphysical devotion is needed to complete the task we nominally call inventing. 12. Are human inventions a part of nature? Are humans apart from nature? What is the human relation to nature? What is nature? Nature is everything, both cosmically and biologically on Earth. It is the systems and cycles. It is the matter and antimatter. It is the particles and waveforms. It is the interaction in chaos. Humans are a part of evolution in nature. Humans are a part of nature. Human nature is apparent in our accumulated studies of human history and sociology. Can humans affect nature? Can animals affect their ecology? Or other kingdoms? The beaver dam again. Or perhaps an overgrowth of weeds in a garden, types of flowers, bug infestations, bird migrations, disease, mold, bacteria, all can affect their environments. Humans can affect their environment. Unlike any species or kingdom, humans can learn how they affect their environment, and due to their inquisitive nature, they can find both solutions and new problems. 13. So what is unnatural? Anything that is not natural or a part of nature. But we've established nature is everything. So the unnatural must be the no thing. The only place that has the real no thing is the unthought, the unexperienced place in the mind where the imagination has no idea. This is the unnatural realm, the negative metaphysical realm, the unknown, unseen. Once the unnatural appears, it instantly becomes natural. The negative metaphysic is a womb for the unnatural to be born into nature. Unnatural is the child of chaos in nature and itself. It was both, never born and always was, a sleeping giant hiding in an infinite form of nature. The all-encompassing nature which holds the thoughts of man, and whatever thoughts of cognition that supersede man's, already exist in the ether. They have for all time. So as the mechanized clocks tick away on our standardized structure, we count the hours away until we dissolve into a new form of nature. 14. Why can't we see the negative physical realm or the things in it? Simply put, they are not meant to be seen by our eyes. We can only experience the effects that the unseen world manifests. The negative metaphysic is like the tail of the snake in infinite time. The tail is in the mouth of the snake and hidden, half digesting and half entering or exiting. The infinite universe and how it recreates The manifestation of itself performs a similar act on the grandest of scales, infinite measures. After the process of death, the unknown, unseen begins its magical work in the no-thought space, dissolving all constants into unimaginables. Chaos begins to swirl around the unimaginables. They slowly form like an invisible dust cloud. Nature is pregnant. A boy will be physical phenomenon. A girl will be a metaphysical, creative idea. 15. Thoughts on thoughts. I think, therefore I am, said Descartes. But I'm not sure where I am. But I must be somewhere, and I must be someone. But I'm not sure who I reside in. An individual, but I am surely part of something bigger. I am made up of parts and parts of parts. I wonder about things I'll never know or understand. I know about things I never knew I would. I live to learn about life, but in life the lessons are about living and dying. And the only true path we all face is death. Something that in coming to know its experience we still know nothing about. We cannot carry memories or trinkets into the void. We will not know ourselves or of anything but bliss or nirvana. And if we come to know of bliss or nirvana in any way, we are being reborn into nature. If the underrealm knew of thought, it would await your eventual return. Instead, like the dull, blind eye of a shark, it looms to devour you. 16. Comprehension. Reading, viewing, listening, touching. What types of reading is there? It depends on the complexity of the message or signs. A picture, in its most simple or minimal form, may become an abstract, universally complex form of ideas, while a seemingly complex picture may, in fact, be more standard of easily decoded. The more information you have in a pattern, the easier the pattern is to recognize. This is the case with reading words in sentences in a story versus viewing one picture or even experiencing an instantaneous life event such as a car crash. Even though you may have viewed the crash, the details are uncertain from the info at hand. Reading involves a deeper commitment to hold multiple pictures in mind while retaining a historical record in order to proceed. The touching of the experience of the car crash will certainly lead to the more realistic, grounded, concentrated, acute understanding of the wreck. 17. The sound plane. It skips and jumps and leaves ripples. It bounces along very fragile, always interrupted. It's peaceful when it's not there, but it makes for the most splendid entertainment. It's been measured and dissected. It comes in all styles and forms. It loves to interact with anything. It's easily stopped. It's not easily stopped. You can't see it. You can test it and manipulate it. You can view its phenomenon and effects. You can feel it. You need holes in your head to allow for it to pass into your mind. When you close your eyes and shut down all senses other than hearing, an interesting world of interacting noises begins to play a type of pinball or billiards game. Even though the sounds are invisible to sight, they form a world onto their own, almost mocking the poor solid structures for being stuck in such a rigid world. Learning through sound is a complicated mix of metaphysics such as stories, jokes, music, cries, and loud noises. 18. Laws, morals, ethics. The laws of nature, or as far as we can tell, work their effect on everything. Out of the dusty mist of chaos and into order. Nature is everything and nothing. Morals, ethics, and societal laws are part of man's evolution in consciousness. Cognition breeds many ideas. Ones deemed not healthy for society are banned by the natural evolution of a society. Societies can become unstable for many reasons. Unstable laws, loose morals, bad ethics can all contribute immensely. A person, under the right circumstances, can do anything they are physically capable of, and a group of people can as well, or any creature or thing is capable of doing what nature intended. All intentions are acceptable if capable. By that account, all laws put in place are natural at the time of placement. All laws of the metaphysical kind can vanish from the physical world in an instant. Morals and ethics, while real, live only in the metaphysical realm and give birth to friendship, laws, and war. 19. Order and disorder. Complexity of simplicities. Complexities of simplicity. Order is a form that arises out of disorder, or better put, a perception of accumulated data on an observed event, either physical or metaphysical, that works itself into form out of similarities in our experience. In other words, disorder is that which we cannot comprehend other than the form of disorder. But a deeper look at any disorder will find some cycle or form of order. The only order that lasts forever is the order of disorder. A form of order that will break down eventually into disorderly form and overall order, using disorder as substance, exists in a higher development, the image of nature. The most elaborate structures known to exist are made up of smaller or more simple structures. These small structures, while a form of order that will fail at some point, are a complex form because of their entropic semi-discouragement. The elaborate structure is built with the wax of Icarus wings. 20. Time rigs its own game. The only things in nature that happen 100% of the time are either rigged operations or extraordinary occurrence deemed perfect under a code or man-made structure, such as a sport, But even within the perfectly played game, mistakes and faults can still be apparent, yet the overall goal of some obstacle may be viewed as perfect. The rigged operation, such as a machine or double-sided coin or magic trick, is subject to overall failure due to the entropy of its parts of function. Time, therefore, is the only constant perfection, because of the game it plays against itself. It rigs the game against its opponent, itself, a constant competitor. When it defeats itself, it picks the game up again somewhere else, moving so fast from place to place that it always appears in the same place. It dies infinite deaths per moment and is reborn infinitely at once. Its perfection reveals itself to us in what we know of as living and existence. (21) The importance of lying. There must be something to this natural distrust. Can an honest man truly survive off his non-lies? Where is the moment or place where a lie is no longer good? It's clearly an instinct, defensive, developed, designed, professionalized. Are we being tricked by the clever liars? Are the liars smarter than us? Should we trust in others with such known information? Has your heart and faith ever been destroyed by a liar? Are we all liars by nature? Must we learn what is truth from our friends, from our foes, from what scares us, from what tears us? Should we beware at all times or take some comfort in the little lies that keep us going, such as, tomorrow will be a brighter day, the best is yet to come, you're on the right path? 22. No reason in wrong. Why would I want to be wrong, even to prove a point? What point have you proven in being wrong and knowing that you are wrong? The dialectic teaches us to be wrong and be okay with it. It is good to learn when you are wrong. Then you can find a way to get closer to being right. Challenges made and challenges met should bear some fruit. The survivors of these battles can bear some witness to the truth. Something between the fine line and beyond the stretches of our time, and map a course of all these fines, and all the vines to climb, and to unwind the twine, and all the trying signs that blind the mind's eye we see. Endlessly we charge into this madness. Catastrophes are charted status.